Welcome to SolFul Connections, where we skip the small talk and head right into the soul talk. I'm Amanda Solar, and each week we share the kinds of stories that remind us we're not alone. It's about being human, raw and unfiltered, just real talk. Let's connect.
Connection.
Today, I am sitting down with William, aka Bill Schutt, who is the founder of Matcor. He's a philanthropist. He's a community leader. He's an artist. He's a musician. And now he's an author. Bill has just published a book, Don't Hire Stupid People. They're Too Much Work. So welcome to the podcast, Bill.
Thank you, Amanda.
I have to tell you, Bill, that I was so tempted. We're doing this by Zoom, and I was really tempted to change my name to Fluffy's Servant. Do you know why?
Well, because of what I wrote in the book, but you see this far, far too often. People on Zoom, they're doing it from home, and they think, well, gosh, nobody's going to see what they're doing, and it's just a riot if you watch.
Yeah. So we have known each other, through the chamber and community for a little while. I was really excited by your book, Bill. What made you write it? Can you share that?
Well, I've been mentoring, as you know, businesses and students and all people for many, many years. And so Laurie, my wife, pushed me to write it all down. And I have mentees that asked me to do it. I have one mentee, she's been with me over 20 years. And because I write some of this stuff up for people. And so they wanted me to write it down. I could give to mentees, give to grandchildren, give to others. And that was the idea behind it. And then it grew a bit beyond that.
So how did you come up with the title?
Well, I was giving a speech to the Chamber of Commerce here several years ago. And someone asked, well, what's the secret to success? And right off the top of my head, I said, don't hire stupid people. They're too much work. And, it just things pop into my head and I put them out in my mouth. Well, my CFO, she's in the audience, and someone sitting next to her said, well, I guess I couldn't get a job at your company. And she looked at him and said, probably not. So this stuck with me, this don't hire stupid people. But we've all made that mistake. We've hired people that we should not have. And so then we go
What does that
there.
mean? Like, exactly. What's the underlining, context of that?
Well, the underlying part is it's not people with any mental issue at all, except that they'll do stupid things, and they'll do things that are just going to cause you a lot of work. They come in and you find out, like I wrote in there, that one guy comes in and he's armed. So he has a gun. Or somebody else comes in and tells you how brilliant they are, and you say, well, okay, fine, we'll work on it that way. And they go, well, not really. I really didn't do all that stuff. It's people who don't realize that do not realize you can just check out these things, and your gut feel is going to tell you that is happening with this person. That's what is stupid. Or people come in and say, I don't want to work hard, but I want to earn a lot of money. That'll work. Yeah, that's what we like. Yeah, yeah. So when you have people that they'll say things and they'll do things there that just do not make sense, and sometimes it's quite laughable. You best not laugh with some, but that's what the stupid people is.
So, Matcor is an enormously successful company, and you started it. So what were you like as a little boy? Were you the little boy that was like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur when I grow up? Were you always, by the way, this personality that you have that's kind of like You're kind of bold, and you say what you think, and it's usually pretty funny, but it's also insightful. Like, did that start as a little boy?
Yeah, it did. I don't know why, but I always wanted to earn my own money. And I remember my mother telling me that at 5 years old, I was trying to sell drawings that I did to the neighbors. But I started my first business when I was 16 and built that up. That's what paid my way through Drexel University. And so I've always been entrepreneurial. I think the reason is I wanted to do it on my own, and I felt that I would much rather start my own business and do it.
Did you always know you were going to go to college as a little boy? Was that something that was part of your,
Yeah, I
you know,
was,
household?
like many of my age group, I was the first in the family to go all the way through school, university. And so, yeah, I knew I was going to do that.
Yeah. Was it something that you knew? Was it something that your parents were like, Bill, you're going to go to college? Or were they kind of encouraging you scholastically? Were they entrepreneurs? Like, where did that come from?
My father had been in business and different businesses since the time he was a child growing up. And my mother was about as savvy in business as you could find. I often tell people in a different world, in a different time, she'd have run a Fortune 100, but she wasn't in business nor working. She was the typical, not typical, she was a working mother, but uh, growing up, as far as it goes for university and going to college, no, that was me that wanted to do it. My parents were very good at letting us do what we wanted to do and to explore and do things. Today, and this is one pet gripe of mine, I see too many parents pushing their children and teachers, administrators, and counselors. You got to go to college. Well, if you don't know what you want to do, you shouldn't be uh, going into, and you and I have seen that because we've talked to students together, um, where the parents are pushing them to do what they
Yeah.
think they ought to do. And that's not very good. It doesn't work out well. Unfortunately, I'm seeing more of it.
Yeah. And then you still have a really dynamic and vibrant relationship with Drexel, and why is that?
Well, I went to Drexel, and I have a grandson that graduated from there a few years ago. I have another grandson down there who's in his second year. I'm involved on a number of different levels. I'm on the President's Leadership Council, and I'm on the advisory board for the entrepreneurial school. But I mentor students at Drexel and students going into business, and I've mentored students in finance and all. They all have the same problems, same issues. But I learned so much by doing it. You get so much back by being a mentor. You're the one that wins if you mentor. And so I've been heavily involved with that sort of thing. I'm involved with Del Valle University here in Doylestown too. So
Yeah, I was reading that section in your book on mentorship, and I know firsthand about your relationship as a mentor. And I was wondering, Bill, why mentorship is important to you. And also, I noticed in the book, you kind of have the position that more people should do it. And I just want to know your thoughts about that.
well, it's important to me because you can help people. Now, I have mentored from high school students up to business owners 80 years old and more. And you learn by it. And if someone is working, say, in business or working no matter where, and they go and they mentor someone, you cannot go back to your own job, your own business, uh, or whatever it is you do and not practice what you just or preaching. And so it's very good, but it also broadens your understanding of so much. And I can stay modern, um, with the language of the young people and what's going on. So I got involved with,
Yeah.
Bitcoin mining and all of this stuff, fashion. I spent time with a couple people, fashion, somebody who owned an ambulance company. Uh, and it just goes on from there of what I've learned. And I find some very, very smart, very, very sharp young people and some older people who just don't see things the way they might. And so you can ask them and have questions. So I'm very, very strong on thinking on doing that mentoring. I just think it's so great for everybody.
You know what I love about you, Bill? One of the things is that you have such curiosity. It's probably one of your reasons you're still vibrant. You're interested in a lot of different things and you're not judgmental. Like, I love that you just said fashion. You don't think there's just one way to do it. Like Matcor, um, you know, uh, if I say what Matcor did, you will be very ashamed of me, Bill, because I want to
Never.
say something like, it made the stuff that made bridges and such secure. But I know it was different than that. But you aren't like, well, you have to be in manufacturing or you have to be in this type of engineering company. You have such an expansive perspective. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I'm always curious, as you say, and I want to be able to do things. And so I will try and do it. I mean, my hobbies, I play music an awful lot. I play saxophone and I have different groups and I'm quite active in that. I do woodworking. I've made much of our own furniture. I do art and painting and it goes on from there, but I just want to try it. So what we had as a philosophy at Matcor was that, yeah, we can do it. So our industry was stopping the corrosion of, say, pipelines, oil wells, infrastructure, including things, bridges and stuff, yes. But we did that worldwide. What the philosophy was, if someone would call and ask, can you do something? The answer was generally yes. And then we would figure it out. By doing that and by being open and listening to what they wanted, the client wanted, we had maybe 100 inventions. We had a number of patents and stuff. So it kept us very current, but it also let us get into the lead on many things in our industry and was quite profitable too. So
Okay, so worldwide, it was a global company.
yeah,
And one of the things that also struck me from the book was your travel experiences. And I mean, you tell a story about being in Abu Dhabi. And what is your relationship to global communication, to, here you are, you're have this life experience, you have this business, and you find yourself in a place like Abu Dhabi or wherever. How did you navigate that? Were you ever uncomfortable? Can you share a little bit about that?
no, I was never uncomfortable, and I was in about 33 countries, and we did business in about 33 countries. We had an office in the Middle East, Hong Kong, and England, and we had a company in India. And no, I enjoy the people around the world. Everybody's pretty much the same. They all have the same concerns and worries. And so it's just fascinating and fun to be with other people. You know, if you're in the chamber went to Korea years ago, and they asked me, and I helped them a little bit on the
Yep.
culture and stuff. So I just enjoyed doing that and making friends pretty much worldwide. And you have to listen to the people, realize they have the same cares and concerns that you do, but also respect the culture. And the culture is different worldwide, and how they see things. And so too many people from the United States want to go tell them how things ought to be instead of listening to how things are. So
So do you have a favorite place that you've been? Is there a place that you think, wow, I would just like to go back there? Or
Well, I enjoyed my visits to pretty much every place, and some of them were in many ways a little dicey. I was in Northern Ireland at a time when it wasn't so hot to be there. It wasn't a great idea. But I enjoy South Africa, Chile, Argentina, and they're delightful places.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I've given papers at these, which is kind of fun to do when you're doing English with translations and stuff.
yeah, yeah. There are a few little funny stories I thought about some of your travel experience or the company's travel experience. Um, Another thing that has always interested me about you, even beyond your book, but it resonates in your book, is you talk about, not just building a company, but building a life. Can you share what that means to you?
Well, too many people that you see and I talk to, they'll go through life and then they're going to, let's call it retire. I don't tell people I'm retired. I tell them I'm an unemployed engineer. And by doing that, they go, oh, I'm sorry. And it works much better. They'll buy lunch that way. But what happens is people have nothing else in their life except going into their job, be it their job, be it their business, teaching, or whatever it is. And then they have nothing outside of that. And that's a shame. Uh, I've always had stuff outside. I've been involved in politics, I've been in public office, um, and plus all the hobbies and things that I do. But I learn from that, and it balances your life and puts things into better perspective of what really is important. People have children, as you know, as you do, and that creates a whole outside world beyond doing business.
Yeah.
It's important. It's very, very important.
So, Bill, what do you think people get wrong about you?
I don't know. We would have to ask people with it. Well, sometimes I get the that I'm pretty tough and I'm blunt, but I am. I'm at a point where I say, look, well, I'm not going to play games. I'm going to tell you exactly what I see and think, but I'm also going to listen. And people don't realize that, and that's the number one thing I think that you can do in life is listen. You'll learn an awful lot by doing, and you'll also learn what the other party or people are looking for and what they need to be happy and to keep a relationship with you. So I think people don't realize that all the things that I might do and how I approach, but but I can't change that now. That's their perception, not mine.
That's right. Oh, have you always had that, by the way, that personality where you're like, hey, this is what I think, this is who I am. You can like it, you cannot like it, but that kind of strength of character, has that been a
Well, I don't
feature?
know if that's a straight the character at times. Sometimes it sets people off. Years ago, when I was working for a company, when we did engineering, and we did this, I ran a project engineering for when I was a young man, young engineer, was for the military. So we met with this high brass military in Washington, D.C. You know, they have all the ribbons and everything on them. And I was there with my boss at the time, and he says, you walk into the meeting, you got a yellow pad with all these things listed on it. He said, it's quite intimidating. So I guess I have been like that for quite some time.
Yeah.
And it's just, when people know what I mean when I say it, and they know that I'm not just blowing smoke. That's such a waste of time and waste of my life. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, the other thing that I was struck by as I was reading, I was thinking about Matcor. I was thinking about its success. I was thinking about its place, in not just the US, but in the world. And I was wondering about the confidence that you have because it's a human tendency when things sometimes, and because I did work at the chamber, I did see this a lot. When things start to get really successful, there's a tendency to actually kind of not feel up to it, not feel like up to the task. It takes a lot of confidence to kind of stand in the center of something like that. Did you always feel confident? Like, explore, can you explore that with me?
Well, rather than, let's just say, confident, you would know, I would know at times what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And, but I was confident in that talking with people and listening, again, back to that, and, and being able to build, as we built the company, I brought in as smart people as I could possibly get. And
Mm,
so by bringing in people that's smart and maybe much uh, more talented in one aspect of the business than you are, then you can do that. But you build by one, putting confidence in people and don't expect more of them than they're capable of, but give them the support and do it. So when you do that, and you get a team like that, then it's not so hard to do anything. But you just realize that it doesn't matter whether we're in Japan, China, or in the Middle East, whatever. The same issues. You're there to help people and solve problems. That's all.
so what about your stress level? Like, operating that company, were you stressed all of the time?
Stressful? No,
Wow.
I don't. Yeah, I try to look at things and be very careful. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah. How do you get through the big stuff, the big challenges? Like, you had a fire. What helps you when there's something that seems like a really big crisis or challenge?
When you have a challenge, say business is bad, or you're losing money, or when you have the fire, you go to the 30,000-foot level and look at it as if it's somebody else's problem that you're trying to help them with. You cannot get sucked into it emotionally. There's one thing I hand out to people, and I started this years ago, and I've handed out dozens of a 3x5 card. And on the 3x5 card, the front of it says, "So what?" And it says, "Turn over." The other side says, "So what? Turn over." Because what's going to get you all upset today, in 3 weeks, it won't be a big deal. And beyond that, you say, "Oh, why did I get so wound up over that?" There's very few things uh, that are going to uh, they're not going to kill you. They're not
Yeah.
going to kill you. It's not your children, your family, whatever. And so if it's not that way, it'll pass.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
you just have to look at it and handle the problem in a very, very clinical way. And the one thing that happened, you mentioned we had a fire where the company burned down. The town here, we had an arsonist way back when, burned several buildings. And so the fire burns down. All the employees showed up like at 6 or 8 o'clock in the morning while the firemen are fighting the fire. There was no doubt in anybody's mind we would be going in business. And that happened on a Friday night, Saturday. Monday, we were in temporary quarters with all the phones and everything else. People did that. So when you see that kind of confidence in them, it's pretty easy to keep going.
Yeah, that gives me chills. Um, what about pet peeves, Bill? What's a pet peeve? Something that just irritates you.
Well, I would say people who are trying to pull the wool over your eyes. People are giving you uh, a line of that's just not true, whatever, and you let them go and dig their own little grave. No, I'm trying not to let it, but it's just people who act stupid and continually act stupid just drive me crazy.
What about what trait do you love in other people?
Well, there's so much because again, I find people around the whole world just being very, very interesting, and what they do and what interests them. Uh, I was talking to Laurie, my wife, about in Brazil. The Brazilians there were upset that we were concerned about the Amazon. And so you just listen to them and see why is this occurring. And I enjoy that.
Yeah.
just talking to people.
What about your favorite trait, or it doesn't have to be favorite, but a trait that you love about yourself?
I I don't know. I think to have this love about yourself is really strange. Um, but I enjoy my curiosity, and
You
I
just are
enjoy
funny.
trying to and learn to do things. I wanted to one time um, do stained glass, so I learned to do stained glass just because I wanted to do it. So the curiosity is what I enjoy.
Yeah. Um, okay. This is such a random question, Bill. You may not have an answer, but I ask most of my interviewees this question. If you could have a long coffee with three people, dead or alive, people you know or people you don't know, who would they be?
Well, yeah, because I heard when you asked my wife that on when she was on with you, but yeah, one would be probably Eisenhower because what he did was rather incredible as a person, and I've read books about him, and so that was fantastic. The other one, which would be fun, and it's not politics, is Bill Clinton, and ask why did you stop playing the saxophone? So
Yeah,
he was
that's
the saxophone player,
interesting.
and he got teased for it. So, and I don't know. There's so many people in the world that I enjoy and would enjoy talking to. Yeah.
That is interesting because can you just expound a little bit? You talked about being a musician and you are an active musician. It's not
Yeah.
something that's in your past. What is the role of music in your life?
Well, it's important. There have been articles written and been from the New York Times on that playing music and all keeps you young. I mean, you have Doc Severinsen, for example. People may not know who he is anymore. 99 years old, still playing.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so I enjoy doing it. And I play lead and play in the jazz band at Del Valle University and the symphonic band. I've played with the Bucks County Orchestra when they need saxophones. And I have a quartet that's played from the Constitution Center all the way up through Nantucket. So we keep quite busy doing that and a little bit of solo work. But the music is great. It's creative. Your mind has to be on it. And if your mind is on it, it's like I said in the book, if you're doing woodworking and you don't put your attention to it, the next time you do it with one less finger, maybe. And so you have to pay attention. And that's what's so great about, say, music or doing other things that require your attention and your thinking. It keeps you going, keeps you young. I play with students in Del Valle. I've had young junior high school kids. Their moms send them here, and I help them with their music. So it's all fun. It's
Yeah.
great.
Did you play music as a child?
Yeah. I started when I was in fifth grade, and I played a lot, and then all through college, and after a little bit, and then, as someone said, I stopped playing for a number of years so I could earn a living, and then go back to it. Laurie, my wife, pushed me back into it again.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something really affirming when you have that relationship with like a musical instrument or something. When you pick it up again, it's just like coming home in a sense, I think.
Not if you heard me when I started playing again. Yeah,
Well, maybe Lori
no,
wanted to leave the home during those times. I don't know.
there's a bit of relearning. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that I was wondering is, was it fun for you being in business, being in that, or was it like, what kept you going? What kept you into it? What kept you excited?
Well, yeah, it's not always fun. No, we had times when we were have some pretty tough economic times, and then you just have to get it. But I had that, well, the Matcor over 40 years. So at 40 years, in that time, you have good times, you have times that are very tough. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed solving the problems. I had a friend that said to me one time, he said, business must be good because you're uptight. I said, yeah, I'm stone cold when it's bad. I can solve that problem and work on it. But I always enjoyed it. And what I enjoyed was solving the problems. So, you have a client with how do we fix or do? We did all kinds of things like that. And then working with the young engineers, because we did a lot of consulting engineering, that was fun. And I always enjoyed that.
Yeah. What are your hopes for the book? Like, what do you hope when somebody closes it? What do you want them to walk away with?
If I sit with people, I want them to walk away with, and especially with the young people, realizing it's their life, it's nobody else's. And with that, you and I talked to at least one student and who wanted to do their thing, and the parents wanted them to do something else. It's not their parents' life; it's theirs. And it upsets maybe, but parents still send me their children to talk to. Is that when I tell them if you get in a 4-year college, year 3.5, and it's not what you want, you change. You go do something else because it's yours. Time is precious.
Yeah.
And so what I try to do is let them own their own life, let them own their own career,
Yeah.
and be comfortable and happy doing that. And too often there's outside pressures where it's hard for them to be happy because mom and dad expect this, their friends. I've heard people say, well, 20-year-old say, well, my friends all know exactly what they're going to do. I said, no, they don't. They think they do. And
Yeah.
they feel the pressure that they don't have their life laid out. And
Yeah.
and that's, I think, one of the biggest things you can do with young people is have that chat with them, have that, let them know that it's okay,
Yeah.
whichever way they want to go. And not many people do it.
No. No, that's interesting. I wonder why they don't. What do you think it is?
Well, they have their own pressure on too. Their own pressure. Parents, for example, do. They want their kid to be successful. Well, however they want to define successful. And they worry about them. And that's all very admirable, but they have to find their own way.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. I have a young man now who I'm helping, and he's starting his own business, getting out of college, and he's going to do fine. His parents are just having a fit. They're worried and all. Well,
Yeah.
this young man has put enough money away to go buy a house graduating from school. He's been earning money all the way through by being a small entrepreneur, and he's paid his own way. I'd say I would have an awful lot of confidence in that young man, but the parents want him to get a regular job.
Yeah, that's
And
really.
so that's what happens today.
Yep. Finally, Bill, what
Well, look, Amanda's out on her own. Amanda's out on her own, isn't she?
I'm out on my own. I read every little bit.
That's right. And doing okay.
And yeah, and Victor's out on his own too. My husband, he has his own plumbing business now. He was a plumber with other businesses. So yeah, we're just doing it, Bill.
But he's got your support.
He's got my support. Who do you think does invoicing?
Yeah, well, I have no doubt about that. I understand how that works. Um, but yeah, it's important to have that support.
Oh yeah,
People.
100%. Yeah.
And I've seen it where it doesn't exist. And that's a tough road to go.
That would be a tough road to go. What about like what do you feel proudest of? Not just professionally, but in life. Like what makes you feel a sense of pride?
When I see um, the mentees doing well,
Mm.
and I have mentees that I just had a couple this weekend send me emails updating me on what they're doing, what's going on in their life, and can we get together and have a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever. So when I see that sort of thing and I see them doing well, that is I'm very, very happy about.
Yeah.
It's nice that you build the business and do all that. That's great. You don't do that by yourself. You got great people around you. But but when I see that with the especially the young people I started with, I had one young man. He started in with me. His mom told him to talk to me when he was a junior in high school. And now he's out, been working for several years, and his mom tells me what he's doing and keeps me up to date. Well, that makes me feel pretty darn good. And I'm just happy about it. That's the best part of life.
I love it. Bill, I'm excited and happy for you. I think this is like a whole new chapter. You can go on your book tour.
I
I
know it's fun to do, and people ought to do it. You write it all down, and we started off because I have a very, very fine editor publicist helping me here. It's good to do it, and I can give it to the mentees, give it to business owners, and they buy it and stuff. And I've had nice feedback so far. It's different than most. They are not teaching some basics in business universities, and it's one
I
complaint.
agree.
Yeah, it gets down to some very basic stuff they don't know, be it intellectual property, be it cash flow, be it working with bankers and that sort of thing. And I spent a lot of time teaching that to young business people and older business people. So that in the book is what I'm trying to do. And I've been asked, so at a couple of places, universities, I'll do some lectures and stuff about the stuff they need to know.
I did just remember something I wanted to ask you about. I found it interesting. Your relationship to words. You said, I don't love the word employee. I don't love the word customer. Um, and it made me wonder about your thought process just about words. So many of us accept the words that we're told to identify things with. And it made me wonder two things. It made me wonder, A, about you as a person who looks at a word and says, you know what? No, that's not working for me, particularly. I found that just an interesting trait. And then also, can you expound upon what it is about the word customer, what it is about the word employee that you find it doesn't quite capture your feelings about that?
Employees sounds to me, it's more like the old serfdom. They work for me and stuff. No, y'all work together. And so employee sounds like you have ownership, and you do not. Uh, the most important person in maybe at Matcor could have been the person newest hire in shipping. He messes up, you're done with that client, or the person who answers the phone first, and you're done with that. So the word employee, you got to be very careful about. Yeah, if you're talking about it in an accounting sense, yes, you can do that. But if you own the company, you're also an employee. But so they're people you work together with. And what was the other one?
The other one was you said customer. It felt like
Yeah,
customer
well,
was like,
I
yeah.
heard this years ago, and I don't know from whom or where I read it, but a customer comes in and buys something from you, and that's it. It's a one and done. A client is someone you've created a relationship with. A client is someone that comes back to you and said, Bill, I didn't like that product, and here's why. Okay, we're going to fix it. Or it comes back and said, I need to have something that does X, Y, Z, and you do it. A client is someone that relies on you. You create a relationship with. There's not much of a relationship with a customer. This is, I heard that I don't know how many years ago, and it stuck with me. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're an independent thinker, and I really admire that about you, Bill. Um, Thank you for coming on the SolFul Connections podcast. I will make sure that in the show notes, I put a link to where people can get your book. And I
good.
appreciate it. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for this, and I hope the book and what's in it helps people. That's the idea.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. Thank you for being a valued part of the Soulful community. Thank you to William Aronson for writing, recording, and producing the Soulful Connections theme song. And finally, always know You're not alone. We are connected. We're all in this thing together, and you and your story are important. Let's just keep on connecting.